Welcome to the Less Insurance Dependence podcast. I'm your host, Lester De Alwis, and this show is dedicated to helping dental professionals build stronger, more profitable practices with less reliance on insurance. So today, I am excited to welcome Lisa Grogan, dental business and leadership consultant. Lisa spent years in dental sales, including leading Invisalign distribution across Ireland before becoming an international speaker and coach. She created the Platinum Practice Approach and the lens method, frameworks that helps clinics attract higher value patients and convert more cosmetic and premium treatment cases. So today's episode is very timely and it is called Busy is Not Profitable, the Path to High Value Dentistry. We are going to talk about why a full schedule does not always mean a healthy practice and what it actually takes to convert the cases that matter the most. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Yeah, so great to be here. Looking forward to this.
Amazing. So you spent years selling Invisalign and scanners before becoming a coach. What did that teach you about why so many practices invest in high-end equipment but never see the return?
Yeah, and I suppose I have a bit of an advantage here because I was in clinic myself even before scanners were born,
Mhm.
and I've seen the transition. And then obviously I was at the other side of it when we were selling scanners or providing scanners to providers. So I suppose I can see it from both angles, which has been interesting. So when we got a scanner initially in clinic, like to introduce
Mm-hmm.
any change into a dental clinic is busy, right? Everybody's so busy. You're like, oh, not another
Yeah.
thing. So of course there was a little bit of that. So when we got it in, we just weren't using it consistently. There wasn't the flow. It was taking too long. So we were kind of picking and
Mm-hmm.
choosing when to use it. I'm sure it was costing us money more than anything else and becoming a bit of a burden rather than the investment it should have been to get the return on investment. So then we kind of decided, look, we need to change the workflow here. We need to do something about this. And literally everybody has to be doing the same thing. So we just got very particular with it, and we introduced it in every one of our consultations. And the reactions we got off patients just blew us away. They were so
Mm-hmm.
fascinated, especially the before and afters and that kind of thing. So when we could see that side of it, it really encouraged us to, again, to keep implementing it in everything. And as we know, like everything's gone so expensive, right, in life. So for
Yeah, yeah.
patients to be able to see the outcome before they've even
Mm-hmm.
started treatment is a game changer, right? They know what they're getting
Mm.
for their money because patients are more hesitant and more cautious about spending money. So the more reassurance that we can give them around that, the better. So that's why I think a scanner
Yeah.
is just amazing. If I opened a clinic tomorrow, I would buy a scanner. So then we kind of went to the other side of it then when we were providing scanners to clinics when I was working for Invisalign. And like that,
Mm-hmm.
they'd be all excited and they'd think this is
Yeah.
this great new piece of equipment that's going to come into the clinic and it's going to change everything and there's going to be cosmetic cases just flowing through the door.
Mm.
And that's not the reality. Okay. They
Yeah.
faced the
Mm.
same struggles that we did and just weren't too sure about the structure or the flow or how to introduce it into the clinic and just to make time. So that's kind of what was happening. They like us, they see it as a burden and they put it in the corner
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, I'll get around to using it at some point. And that doesn't come unless you stop and say, right, guys, listen, from Monday or from next week, we are introducing this into every part of our workflow. And if you're a dentist who can't do that right at the moment because your schedule is exceptionally tight, just plan a month in advance or 2 months and just
Mm.
space out those gaps a little bit. Just give yourself long
Exactly.
for the appointment and get used to scanning. Grab your nurse, grab your receptionist, scan yourself if you have to. But like honestly, I have seen practice first of all, clinicians taking 30 or 40 minutes to scan down to
Yeah.
7 minutes. But there's only one way
Mm.
through it, right? If I could give you a magic pill, I would. But there's literally only one way through it, and that is practice, practice, practice. But also, when you see your conversion rates going up, which they absolutely will, because patients are going to choose your clinic over somebody else's who can provide that visual
Exactly.
outcome. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the biggest, I suppose, barriers I see to the implementation is people kind of creating the time to really build it
Mm-hmm.
into their workflows. But once that clicks, it's just brilliant. Really a game changer.
Amazing, amazing. So, now let's talk about where that return usually gets lost. So you say busy does not always mean being profitable. What is really going on a full schedule and what that is not actually making practice money?
Yeah, and I'm really glad you asked this question because It's not a nice topic, but I think it's something that we
Mm-hmm.
really need to be talking about a
Mm.
lot more. And obviously, with the one work I do with dentists, they can get open and they can get vulnerable with me, and they tell me what's happening
Yeah.
within their business. I can see the stress it's causing them. I can see how much it's affecting their family life. So this needs to change. Okay, we need to raise
Mm.
awareness on what's happening here. Like back in say 2022, the average running cost of a surgery was roughly about €450 a day. Okay, now that's euro. Now it's on average, obviously there's a lot of variables involved in this, but you're looking at about 800 a day just to run a business, or sorry, run a clinic surgery. Okay, which
Really?
means
Yeah.
you're earning €100 an hour really to cover that.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
now if you're doing checkups and you're doing hygiene, and what I'm certainly not saying is that you should avoid these. These are bread and butter. They have to be done to protect your
Yeah.
business and the future of your business. But if you're stuck doing low value work every day, where you're coming out with maybe €160 an hour, then the balance of that is, let's just say €60. And then if you have a white gap in
Mm.
your diary, that's eating into that little extra that you've made. And what I'm hearing a lot of
Mm.
business owners is their book might be busy, but their associates is not. So they're having to work harder to make up that loss for the associates. So with the
Yeah.
rising costs of everything and staff, and I mean, it's only going one way, unfortunately. We need to be kind of getting more analytical with the figures. And look, it's not an exciting or sexy exercise that anybody enjoys doing, but the peace of mind you will get around your business, because you know, you can see where I suppose the leaky buckets are. You can see where the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity is as well. And there's plenty of opportunity out there to earn more money. And that's why I'm really sticky. And I suppose why I've chosen my focus area is to help dentists attract higher value work into the
Mm.
business. Well, number one, it's more fulfilling. Number two, you get the wow from the patient, so it's more exciting, but
Yeah.
it's more profitable. Like if you do a clear
Yeah.
aligner case, on average, we're going to say about it's 3 to 4 hours, three for a more simple case, four for a more complex case. Dentists can
Mm.
earn about 600, five or €600 an hour for that. Like that additional income will protect the low value times, or when maybe things aren't
Mm-hmm.
very busy, or they're having to do a lot of checkups and cleans and that kind of thing. But there has to be the balance of the higher income stuff coming in, so that it just relieves the
Yeah.
pressure and creates more of a balance across the board. If you ask me now, it's just a non-negotiable. Even just basic understanding of figures has to be done. And that's where I start with all my clients, because we need to get a realistic picture of what we're dealing with. A lot of
Yeah.
a lot of practices run on a vibe business. Look, the book is busy. We think we're doing well, but when they look at the figures, it can be quite shocking sometimes. Like, I didn't realize that was
Yeah.
how tight my margins were, or that I was running at a loss. But that's okay, because once we get the awareness, then we can do something about it. Okay, so there's lots of hope.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who's watching this and
Exactly.
you're, feeling that same way, lots of hope, lots of things you can do. So yeah.
And I think the part of this is your advice is basically you don't need to complicate this by adding a lot of high services on your schedule, but you need to have some of the high value services in your schedule, right? Am I
Exactly.
correct on that? Yeah.
100%. Your book doesn't need to be full of the complex stuff all day. There has to be that balance as well. But it's just
Balance.
that there is a mix of more cosmetic work coming in that you earn more from, even crowns, veneers. There's just more. There is more to be earned per hour, and also just in relation to being more profitable. We all have a current patient base, and that's great. And it's great to focus on them and recalls. But you need to be bringing newer business as well into your clinic, because they are going to
Mm-hmm.
spend more, because their current database or patient base will have had all the work done. Although
Yes.
in saying that, I would recommend for dentists to use something like a smile assessment form, which is a gorgeous
Mm-hmm.
free resource, so easy. We introduced it into the clinic. It was an absolute game changer. Like, helped our reputation, we helped our relationships with our patients, and it certainly earned us such a big revenue. And it's a simple form that just says, like, for the patient, I don't like the color of my teeth. I don't like that black
Mm.
line above my crown. I find my teeth difficult to clean. And dentists will look at that and think, oh, you find your teeth difficult to clean, Mary. You've been coming to us for years. You never told me. Oh, we do a thing
Yeah.
called clear aligners. Would you like me to have
Mm-hmm.
a conversation with you about that? And just to let you know that there is options you can do. So all of a sudden, boom, this conversation has been opened with a patient who could be in your clinic for years, as opposed to not. So if I opened a clinic tomorrow, that form would be given to every patient, new and old.
Amazing, amazing. So, I think you already have a method that you have built, and I think that's the ABC method, which helps clinics attract more cosmetic treatments. So, walk us through how this thing works.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to keep things nice and simple, and I love a framework. So with my ABC, which is where I'm really focusing on at the moment, is the A is for attract, So it's your
Mm-hmm.
online messaging, it's your visuals, it's what you're putting up online, it's how are you attracting the work that you want to do more of, whether that's cosmetic, some people have root canals, whatever floats your boat, that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But that will tailor what you're putting up online. And the beauty is, if you really enjoy doing a treatment, the more you put up online, the more of that work is going to come in the door. And again, it mightn't fix today or tomorrow, but all of a sudden, you're just going to start noticing these changes in your book and an uplift in these cases sooner than you would think. So that's the attraction part. Then the B is for, I'll come back to the B actually. The C is for the conversion. So that's once there's a kind of a conversion process. So patient
Mm-hmm.
likes what they see online, they're going to ring the clinic. If they like who they're
Yeah.
speaking to on the phone, they're going to come to visit the clinic. If they like what they've heard in clinic, they're going to convert into treatment. And when they're finished and they're happy with everything, they are going to tell more people to come into your clinic. So the conversion process is all around relationships, communication, really how we can kind of build stronger patient journey
Mm-hmm.
and just a nicer experience for them so that we retain those patients. Because the sad truth is, patients are not as loyal as they used to be. They are seeing something shiny online on somebody's social media and marketing, and they're going elsewhere. And that is happening all the time. I was talking to a client of mine recently, and she said, Lisa, a patient of mine for many years came to me for the checkup, for the routine stuff, went somewhere else
Mm-hmm.
for the cosmetic work, and then came back to her to have routine stuff done. So how frustrating is that? She's like, how did she not know? Why didn't she
Yeah.
ask me? We have to remember, right? Patients are nervous when they come into the clinic. Okay.
Mm.
No matter how lovely everybody is, no matter how lovely the dentist is, how skilled everybody is, there's just this ingrained thing in people of the dentist is a bit of a scary place. Okay. So when they come in, the nervous system is heightened. Okay. And
Mm.
what happens? Your brain slightly fogs over and you kind of forget what you want to ask about. And a recent example is my mum was going, we need to go to the dentist for teeth whitening. And she's like, oh, I must ask them when I'm down there. So she went to the appointment, came back later. I said, how did you get on? Did you ask about teeth whitening? Oh, I completely forgot. Completely went out of my head. They had just had one resource, whether that be a poster, a leaflet, a smile
Yes.
assessment form, or asked, is there anything
Mm.
about her smile that she'd like to improve? Any one of those things, and that would have brought that back to the forefront of her mind, and they would have made more revenue from that. So that is
Exactly.
how I suppose finicky these things can be, but again, such an easy fix.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they look very small, but actually they do a lot of things. If you actually can fix those little areas in your
Yeah.
practice.
Absolutely, and get the team
Exactly.
involved and all that kind of stuff. And just the last one on this, so that's the kind of the line. The convert is again a more paper along the patient journey and our communication. And so the B is a little bit about my secret sauce. I am a mindset coach as well. I love anything to do with how the
Mm-hmm.
brain works, how we think. A neuroscience coach as well, so I love kind of getting in there. And it's something that again we don't talk about enough. And B stands for belief. Now, what does that mean? If you
Mm.
have the best scanner in the world, you tick that box, and you've kind of have a nice workflow for the patient, you've ticked that box. If you don't believe that you are doing the right thing, or for whatever reason that imposter syndrome kicks in, or your confidence
Mm.
around something, or you feel that salesy that all of us hate, if any of
Mm.
those little thoughts creep in while the patient is sitting in the chair, number one, you won't have the conversations. Two, probably won't flow very well. And if you get any way shady or quiet or hide away from price, patients feel that. And this is an important point, okay? Everybody's busy, right? When was the last time you spoke to somebody who wasn't busy? Everybody
Yeah.
is busy, busy, busy. So if
Mm.
patients are more informed and doing the research, so they are going to websites and they're looking around, they're going to social media, they're looking around. If they like what they see, they're obviously calling the clinic. If your receptionist has done a great job, which hopefully she does, and they come into your clinic, they've taken time out of their busy, busy schedule, probably got the kids'
Mm.
mind, taken time off work, inconvenience themselves to come to your business. There's a massive level of commitment already in their mind. So a lot of patients are
Yeah.
just going to the clinic to see, do I like them? Do I feel confident that this is the right clinic for me? Do they understand me? Do I feel valued as a patient? And that's what
Mm.
and that comes through to our body language, again, how we communicate, but massively around our belief system. And one of the big ones that show up is people's money mindset. And when I
Mm.
hear this line, I'm like, oh, and I hear it a lot, is a dentist saying, these are your options. Do you want to just go home and think about it? Like that patient is committed in their mind, but if any of us are giving an out, we're going to take it, right? We just naturally just take it.
Exactly.
Like,
Mm.
oh, right, okay, maybe I should go think about it. In clinic, we would never ever say that. They would have the consultation with the dentist, then they'd come out. I'd be like, great, John, this is great. We'll get you started. Let's get you booked in. When are you next free? And just assume that that is what they're going to do. Because sometimes patients
Yeah,
need that reassurance of this is happening.
exactly.
If they don't want to go ahead, they will not book in. So we're not, we're not pushing anyone to do anything they don't want to do. 100% never do that. It's all about being very ethical. But they need a bit of reassurance from us as well. So mindset plays a huge part in this whole process. So the ABC, they're the three steps that we really delve into.
Thank you, Lisa. I think that's a very nice approach on how to look at this and how to attract more cosmetic treatment. So, and I also want to take this time to actually give a shout out to Ekwa Marketing, who's actually the marketing sponsor for this episode. And if you're ready to make sure you want to check how you're doing with your online visibility and how your marketing is bringing that kind of a case that we were talking about. The team at Ekwa Marketing is offering a complimentary practice growth audit at lessinsurancedependence.com/MSM. You can get that practice audit. You can get a roadmap on where you are and where you want to go from where your marketing is. So it's complimentary. You can book that from the link. It will be on the show notes as well. So now, Lisa, let's talk about what happens once the patient is sitting in the chair. I think your lens method looks on at logical, emotional, and neurological performances. How does a team's mindset actually affect whether a patient says yes to a premium treatment plan?
Yeah, great question. So the lens method is something that I have created, and I work with my private clients, I work with teams, and even how patients decide to buy. It comes into everything. So it's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
not a 2D approach to coaching. I take a 4D approach. And what I mean by that is 2D would be like the logical. So we'll just tell the patient what they need, we'll go through the pricing, and we'll just get them booked in. Not that simple. Okay. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's the logical part. It makes sense. Then you have the E, so that's kind of the emotional, the energy that goes into it. So as we know, patients decide to go ahead emotionally. Okay, logically second, emotionally first. So
Yeah.
very important that the team is bringing a certain energy, a certain,
Mm.
I suppose, yeah. Like I walked when I was with Invisalign, I was in and out of clinics all the day. I would walk into a clinic and
Mm-hmm.
I could feel very quickly if that was a nice place to work. If the receptionist
Mm.
would kind of just look down rather than even look me in the eye, or I wouldn't even get much of a greeting, I could just tell that this is not a happy environment for these people to be working in. And now I'm a
Yeah.
patient. I feel that. And again, I'm nervous
Mm.
coming through the door. I need this to be a safe space. And so that's why the team element is such an important thing, that they have a friendly disposition, that they feel that they're making a difference. And that's actually where sorry, I'm skipping ahead. So that's the E, the emotional part
Yeah.
of that. Teams need to be engaged, they need to be motivated, they need to kind of step up and really support each other and not have, I suppose, a kind of a negative atmosphere when you walk into a business. So the N is the neurological side of it, and made really simple, that is our belief systems, our thought patterns, how we view something. If you have a
Mm.
team member who feels that they don't make a difference, they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
contribute to the business or the patient journey. And I'll give you a little example. I was talking to a dentist who took on this younger girl who was a nurse, and she was constantly sick. This went on for weeks. Okay, and as we know in a dental clinic, if one person is out, it has a knock-on effect on everybody. It can just really throw out a day. So it was causing a lot of frustration and
Mm.
stress in the business. So
Yeah.
anyway, the owner decided, I need to do something about this. He pulled that lady aside and said, I just want to check if you're okay. You've been out quite a bit, and when you're not in, it has an effect on everybody else in the team, and we're feeling a lot of stress. And that team member said, oh, well, first of all, she's like, I didn't realize I was out that much. And second, she kind of, I didn't think it made a difference if I was there or not. So by hearing the practice owner saying, we value you and you were valued in this business and you're missed when you're not here, gave that
Mm.
boy a whole new sense of, oh my goodness, I am a cog in the wheel, and
Yeah.
absentees stopped. So it's
Mm.
funny little belief systems that the team can have that they don't make a difference. Even your receptionist, it's actually the receptionist is an interesting one. They're like literally one of the most important people in the business, because they can make or break a clinic. If they don't feel important, powered in their role, it can massively,
Mm-hmm.
affect a business. And that's something I'm very passionate about, is empowering the dental team to step up. And so I'm in dentistry 20 years, honestly, the changes I have seen is just insane. In many ways, great, but lots of added stress. Like marketing didn't exist for dental clinics. In fact, it was illegal when I started out in dentistry. So to look where it is now is just amazing. It's fantastic to see the
Yeah.
transition. And then the digital adoptions, they've only two small changes that have happened in dentistry. But again, it's another hat for the practice owner to wear. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one change. But then you also have the team change. They want to feel like they're doing something, part of a solution, I suppose, and that they're have a purpose in there. So we need to be giving them more responsibility. So it's good because
Mm.
patients or dentists need to delegate more and give away some of that responsibility. And our teams want to step up. So the
Yeah.
neurological side of things, it's helping our teams feel empowered to say, hey, listen, can we try this? And I did this in another clinic and it worked well. So they kind of feel, again, motivated and part of the solution. And then the S then,
Exactly.
it kind of feeds into that as well. It's kind of like, do they feel part of a team so that there's a level of accountability happening within the business? Again, has that lab work come back? Who's tracking the patient's, finances or whatever it is? Who needs to call back that patient to do the recall and the follow up? There's that massive level of accountability within the team, and that is the difference between a successful clinic and one that is, kind of in trouble. So that S side is really important. It relates to culture, the relationships, leadership, all that kind of element in it. So that's kind of the pillars of the lens.
Amazing. So I guess when the whole team understands what drives the patient's yes, conversion becomes consistent. So I think that basically is how the formula works.
Yeah, they affect the patient journey. And also, and I know a lot of people will agree with this, patients often going to the dentist, again, get a little bit nervous, even though the dentist is a fabulous person. And they'll come out to the nurse or the receptionist and say, what did they tell me? What was I supposed to do? What am I supposed to come back for? I can't tell you how many times I've heard it. So, like, the patients, again, see the reception team and the nurses as a safe space they can go to ask these questions. Something
Exactly.
just a little bit intimidated in the chair. So they all make a difference, such a big difference.
Exactly. Now, what is one thing a dentist can do this week if they're listening into this episode that they can start doing this week to start converting more high value cases instead of chasing more patients?
One thing, I'm going to come back to the belief system here.
Mm-hmm.
I like things that are free, I like things that are
Mm-hmm.
easy, and I like things that a dentist can implement today if they listen to this. Okay.
Yes.
I read an article recently that 60% of patients interviewed wanted cosmetic work. Now, if you're a dentist watching
Mm-hmm.
this, is 60% of your day patients asking about cosmetic work or having those conversations? I bet you not. Okay.
Yeah.
So patients don't know what they don't know. So they're not going to ask you about treatments. Okay. So you need to be brave and find ways to open up these conversations within your business. Your current patient base know you, like you, trust you.
Trust.
And if a trust is just the word of the day. Patients are just looking for that. And it's the one that we can create that connection, that trust. They're the ones that will be loyal
Mm.
for life. So you be brave, open up the conversations, get the smile assessment form, use some visual tools in your conversations, but just believe in what you're doing. And actually, I recorded a video this morning, and so the philosophy we had in the clinic was friendliness over professionalism. We were always very
Mm-hmm.
professional, but friendliness over professionalism. Okay, when a patient is sitting in your chair, I want you to view that patient as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because if they're a patient and you're going to talk to them about, if they're just in for a checkup and you're like, oh, this person could really benefit from veneers or clear aligners or whatever it is, look at that patient like their friend who you would tell them that advice if they weren't sitting in your chair. Like, have you ever thought of straightening your teeth?
Exactly.
No. Have you ever thought of fixing that, getting that, black line above that crown placed? We would have no problem saying that to a friend or a sister or, our partner, whatever it is. But that fear of being salesy with a patient holds dentists back from having these conversations,
Mm.
massively. And that's one of the biggest revenue killers in a business. You're not in the sales business, but you are in the solutions business. Okay. And there needs to be, again, that mindset piece around it. So, and the other thing is when a patient is sitting there and you're looking at them as a friend, you have a level of conviction because you're like, you need to do this. Like, this is the right thing for you. Like, if I'm talking to my friends about dentistry, like, I'm really passionate, like I am now.
Yeah.
If I was somebody, if I just met them and they were asking me about improving their teeth, I would be afraid of insult. You could be afraid of insulting them, or what if I say something wrong? So when we're talking to somebody we know, there's just an extra excitement and level of enthusiasm because we truly believe this is the right option for you. This is going to improve your life. It's going
Yeah.
to improve your bite or your whatever it is. So that's, yeah, I suppose that's I kind of went off on a tangent there, but that would be my thing is believe in
Oh.
yourself, believe in the value that you're bringing, believe that you are doing the right thing for that patient, and that energy will just come through. And that, again, patients are looking for it to feel inspired to take action. They are looking
Mm-hmm.
confidence and they're looking for trust. So that comes with a level of enthusiasm when you're having these conversations. Don't shy away from the prices. Keep your body language nice and open, receptive, and yeah, just take them on that journey. So yeah, believe in yourself and just trust in the process.
Exactly. So many great nuggets and great advice shared by you, Lisa. So I think when somebody's listening to this episode, they're surely gonna have a lot of questions and going to have a lot of things that they would like to discuss with you, or even have a chat on getting things moving. Because this podcast is about taking action. So if they want to reach out to you or get in contact with you, what will be the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, so the easiest way is my website is lisagrogandentalcoach.com. My
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is Lisa Grogan Dental Coach. And actually, something I'd recommend is go to the website and a little pop up will come up for a scorecard. And that'll,
Mm-hmm.
you take it takes 2 or 3 minutes and it goes through the ABC method. So you can really see where the blind spots and breakdowns are happening. And the feedback from dentists has just been fantastic about anybody who's taking it. So if you don't know where to start, this journey, this is definitely going to give you a good place to take it. But yeah, you can reach out to me through my website or socials.
Exactly. Lisa, thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Been great. Really enjoyed it.
So the biggest takeaway for me is that a busy schedule can hide a real problem if the
Mhm.
practice is not converting the right kind of work. Being busy just means working harder for less. So if you are ready to take action on what we can cover today, you can schedule a complimentary practice growth audit with Ekwa Marketing at lessinsurancependence.com/MSM. And if you're looking for coaching or mentorship, you can always schedule a complimentary coaching strategy meeting with Gary Takas at lessinsurancedependence.com/CSM. Now, all these resources are complimentary. You can also see all these on the show notes as well as Lisa's website and link on the show notes of this episode. And you can take this moment to actually grab that opportunity to take your practice to the next level. So, the practices that break free from insurance are not the busiest ones, they are the ones that know their numbers, convert the work that actually pays. So know your numbers, chase the right cases, the freedom follows. Thank you for listening in to the List Insurance Dependence podcast. I'm Lester De Alwis, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next episode.